Micro Devices, Micron, NVIDIA, all up more than 30% this year. But the chart master here says the group could be running into trouble ahead of a key earnings report next week. So, Carter, why don't you head over to the plasma and break it down?
I mean, look, semis, who would want to fight the run in semis? But at some point, all runs abate, or at least the rate of change ameliorate, so to speak. Take a look at this. This is the scene of the crime. This is the dot-com bubble. Now, we know that the NASDAQ composite, think about where it is compared to its 1999 high. It's way up here in the S&P. But the case is that the semis have been stuck, essentially, for the better part of the year, contending with their dot-com high. So if you put in the line, you can see it here. Again, we put our circles. Now, remember, this is absolute. If you were to adjust for inflation, the semiconductors are way down here. It will take a long time just to get back to their high. Moving on. Now, here is the here and now. Many ways to draw the lines. I think this is as good a way as any. We've basically been stuck in this range, and to my eye, I think we stay stuck. Moving on. Now, look at this. Relative performance to the tech sector. Again, semis have been stuck in this range. What's important is that they are underperforming the other choices one could have made in technology. And then finally, let's talk about Micron. You can see the chart. You can see this line. And you can see the following. Off the line, off the line, off the line, off the line. Now, here's the thing. We have the little bit of a prospect of having not made a new high. My hunch is that we've got a next trip down towards the line. So going into the number, my bet is to be underweight or short rather than overweight or long.
All right, so Mike, what's your trade?
Yeah, so the options market is implying about an 8% move. One thing about the price action that he did not cover, one chart we didn't show, is the volatility in Micron. And one of the things that we may remember from the tech bubble, those who lived through it, is that as stocks were reaching new highs, the volatility of those stocks also increased. That's not usually a healthy pattern, and it is the same pattern that we're actually seeing in these stocks right now, including Micron. Because of that, the options premiums are a little bit elevated. You add that catalyst there too. So we're going to use a spread. Specifically, I was looking at the July 57.5 50-put spread. You could spend $360 to buy those 57.5, sell the 50s against it for 90 cents. So you're spending about $2.70. That is a little bit more than we typically would invest in a short bet for a put spread. We're usually looking to pay, 25, 30% of the premium. So it's a little bit more than that. But I think it's deserved here. And, there was not a good opportunity in this name actually to sell upside call spreads or something like that. I did take a look at that, and, those were not very attractive, I think, given how volatile the stock is.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting. Your charting is pretty interesting because that last high actually corresponded with their last earnings event, and it was actually a great report, but the stock had ripped like 30-some% into it, and there was nobody left to buy it, right? So the next day it sold off 8%, and then it kept on going. I think it had a peak to trough decline of about 30%. Here we are now, back right before this earnings event. Option prices are really high. I mean, like 8% in either direction. I mean, that's not just like putting your thumb up in the air and figuring it out. So I like the spread. I think it makes sense targeting that $50 level. I think you look at some other semis. There's some other troubling issues going on right now in semiconductor land. Taiwan Semiconductor, it's the second largest component in the SMH, which is the ETF that tracks the stocks, can't get out of its own way here. They're the ones who make the chips for all these fabless guys. And then there's the semiconductor equipment guys who are actually make the equipment for the guys who make the semiconductors, and AMAT, CLAC, ASML. These things can't get out of their own way. So you got your NVIDIAs, you got your Microns that people are so obsessed with, but then there's some stuff underneath the surface that doesn't act so well.
And not randomly, it's all happening right at the 99 high. We're churning, stuck.
So could a better trade maybe be to put a trade on the SMH because they all look sort of questionable at this point?
Well, I think, if you were to look at the options, you're going to find that they're much better priced. And I know you have looked at SMH in the past, and I think you probably are going to get some good bang for your buck. Because if the news here is bad and if the price action is bad, it's going to be bad for the whole space. This is a situation, you'll notice the distance between these strikes, 57.5 to 50. The options market is implying a move of about 8%, but we're giving ourselves room for a little bit more than that because the stock traded just over $58 on the close today. So, we're saying, potentially between now and July expiration, 10, 12.5% downside, I think.
Yeah, and look, you know what happens in earnings. You can get it totally wrong, and the thing is going to be a massive directional bust. But the setup, to me, seems like we've got a better bet on the downside.
Whoa, stop. What is going on here? Well, what you're looking at is a plummeted price of AutoZone stock in just a matter of an hour or two when it went up pre-market from 710 and fell later in the day all the way to 596. Why should you care? By utilizing a very simple option strategy, we were able to turn every $1,000 of investment from 9:30 in the morning till 10:45 a.m. into an excess of $10,000. That's right, literally a $10,000 investment produced in excess of $100,000 in gains. The crazy truth about stocks and options trading: most of the fortunes were created when stocks fall. So if you're not utilizing this crazy strategy, you're definitely missing out on thousands of dollars, and you're leaving that money on the table for somebody else. Look, these are the facts. Just think about it. Stocks drop actually much, much faster than it takes them to climb higher. So just take a look. There's your AZO graph right here. It took it a month, 2 months to get from this 580 level all the way to about 700. And look how fast it dropped just in one day. Now, how do we know that this had a potential to happen? Look, it has a history of doing these things at the same level at around 700. It did it last time during the earnings report. So you don't have to be a rocket science. You just got to know which stocks, when to take action, and you got to know how to find the stocks. Has it ever occurred to you that every day when the market goes higher, there's plenty of stocks that actually drop? Because if every day some stocks did not drop, then the market would go to the moon, just like Bitcoin, right? The reality of life, everything that goes up must come down. Look at the housing bubble in 2008. Bitcoin prices, when nobody believed, we put a recommendation at 18,800 to short Bitcoin. In other words, to make money when it falls. The bottom line is this: you don't need a market crash for you to actually profit on stocks falling. The opportunities are there every single day. You just got to know where to look for. If you grasp the simple idea that stocks fall much faster than they go up, you will be able to become a much more effective and efficient stock or options trader. Okay, hold on. So what you're saying is, while everybody's chasing the stocks on the way higher, the real money is actually made when stocks drop. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. If you'd like to learn more about this fascinating and yet such a simple strategy, I invite you to go behind the scenes with me, where I will reveal to you how I turned 12,000 into 466,000 in less than 7 hours trading options with this strategy. And I know this sounds crazy, but I actually did it. And I want to share with you all the specifics, all the details of how I was able to accomplish that. So if you'd like to become a better trader, take action now. Click the link on the button below. Life is too short. Don't waste another minute. Today is your day.